Hey everybody, Jolly Bully here, the Joe you can trust, back with a Walking Dead Rules 5 video, featuring our glorious yellow and red defense leader, Donnie. Donnie is no joke here, folks, rocking 2,275 attack stat, which is the highest attack stat in the game. Also, giving Donnie a tanky leadership for yellow and reds is a whole new dynamic into the game, as red's biggest weakness is blues, and if we can bring in a combination of reds and yellows, we may find a nice string of new fresh attack and defense teams coming very soon, especially seeing as this is a legacy survivor. With a defense and health basic stat, and scaling from his leadership and weapon should set him up nicely to combat some heavy blue raid team comps. Donnie's leadership is unique to the game as this is the first yellow and red leadership survivor, which automatically spells diversity. His adrenaline rush is setting a standard, which with his hat on backwards and a bloody leather jacket, my college coach would say otherwise. But Donnie will slap some bitches up for 425% damage, and based on if you're using him as a leader for defense or with another offensive leader will dictate a nice swing in damage. The two enemies that are hit will be stunned for 2 turns. 2 of your lowest HP teammates will regain 30% HP. After that, 2 of your highest AP survivors will gain 20% AP. So Donnie gives you burst damage, crowd control, team sustain, and team AP. On paper this sounds pretty good, especially since this is the start of the second generation stat survivors. Here's a list of numbers for the 20% bonus AP. We can see here if we bring in a command with Donnie, then we can have 3 adrenaline rushes going off turn 3 with 30 AP gained per attack. If we command Donnie turn 3, he will give 20% AP to 2 other survivors, which will make any survivor that is a 66 or 76 AR be ready to pop at the same time. His active is 30% bonus HP to 2 teammates, which can be used turn 2. I am not sure if I would find myself using this active often, as his adrenaline rush is just that much better to use, so I would want to be popping it off as much as I can, and this active doesn't give Donnie AP when he uses it, so that is a big reason why I don't find much desire to use it unless it's a life or death situation. Weapon setup for Donnie is pretty basic, and I will do a defense setup and attack setup. Attack will be your standard attack, AP when attacking, and stun when being attacked. If we will be using Donnie for attacking, there are better leaderships to use other than Donnie unless you plan on bringing someone who can do heavy debuffs and buffs to the team. So for attacking, let's put it all on his attack stat and just rip through some greens. Defense will also be a standard defense, AP when attacking, and stun when being attacked. We will be using Donnie's leadership or someone that gives 40% HP and defense, especially since Donnie is a red, so we will have to be careful with some heavy hitting blues. With the extra attack stats should help Donnie survive a barrage potentially, which can allow him to get an AR off and start slapping the living shit out of your attackers. We can use his leadership skill as well. We may have some yellow trait survivors to thin out some of those glass cannon blues that are attacking our team. As for combat mods, I'll have a rating set of combat mods, and if you want to use him on defense, I'll have those as well. For rating combat mods, we go pretty much full brute force with just a tad of survivability coming from an HP combat mod to make sure that in that one scenario where they all just focus Donnie and he flops over. Even though the threat isn't that great for him in attack right now, but this is something to look forward to. We pretty much want to turn all greens into poo with this setup going for our second generation glass cannon. For defending, we will swap to the opposite side of the spectrum with nothing but survivability combat mods. We make sure we have a defense setup with defense set, graze, defense, and HP combat mods to make sure we do not get the living crap slapped out of us with a heavy blue team comp. For the case we get hit with greens or reds, we will have stun resist. With this setup, I would recommend someone who can cleanse in pairs like Yvette or Guardian 2 Zeke as an example. As for team comps, I'm going to be doing 2 attack teams and 2 defense teams. First attack team, we're going to be taking a highly offensive AP and attack approach with Alice. Having a team like this, we will allow Bruce to disarm whoever we are attacking to make sure no special weapon mods can affect us when we are just finger blasting somebody down. Since everybody on this team will have adrenaline rushes ready to go at turn 3, come turn 3, once Alice buffs the living hell out of the team with 75% attack, we will have Donnie and Bruce either burst down their own enemies, or we can weaken the entire team as a whole, just to then have Alpha come in and then AR the entire team to get multiple decaps. If we're able to do this, and then have Erica also adrenaline rush that same turn, anybody that is still alive is not going to be beating your team because you will have just too much sustain and bonus HP. This is a very quick, every 3 turn, basically, you're thinning out some of the enemy team. You can get a few kills here and there with basic attacks, but the main chunk is every 3 turns when everybody can use their adrenaline rushes at the same time. Now for the second attack team, which I personally think is a very good attack team, and easily obtainable for a lot of people out there. So how this team would end up working, since we can have everybody get 40 AP per attack, everybody except Andrea and Tyrese's Adrenaline Rush will be ready to use at turn 3. What you would do first is, come turn 3, Maggie would use her Adrenaline Rush to buff the entire team with an attack buff. Next, you would use Donnie Adrenaline Rush to then give bonus AP to Andrea and Tyrese, allowing them to now be able to use their Adrenaline Rushes that same turn, being turn 3. So then now you have Andrea, Spencer, and Tyrese all ready to use their Adrenaline Rushes. Spencer will then do a defense down, and then you can follow up with Tyrese and Andrea, just completely decimating the enemy team. Onward to the 2 defense teams. First defense team, we're going to be bringing in Donnie as our leadership so we can then rock a yellow and blue just to get a new dynamic into the game. Going in for a stat and a little bit of kill potential, we will bring in Camilla. Her heavy burst and team-wide focus and in pair is actually going to be very useful, especially if they don't have enough firepower to take her out. The next survivor, which I think is going to work very well with a lot of Donnie team comps, is going to be Rosita. Since you are rocking a yellow and blue defense team, it wouldn't be too crazy to be hit with a blue and green team comp. Almost like a yin-yang situation here. So if blues and greens are going to be hitting you, that is going to be in pair and stuns, and Rosita's Adrenaline Rush cleanses in pairs and stuns, while healing at the same time. To make sure we can be more of a pain in the ass and have a disarmer and triple attacker on our defense team with a stun on attack, is we're going to bring in Harper. Once Harper's Adrenaline Rush is able to go off, the nuts of our enemies are basically snipped off, and they are no longer the men they used to be. And then top it all off, to make sure we have either a force pressure on somebody early, or you have to deal with a pain-in-the-ass survivor, tanky and does damage, we're going to go with Hold the Line Andrea. If this team is able to take a few people out by the end of the fight, and there is only 2 or 3 people left, and they are versed a fully beefed-out Hold the Line Andrea, there is potential that they may not be able to kill her, thus giving you the win. Timeout or Andrea just blows their heads off. Last defense team, we're going to rock Donnie once again for more of a dynamic. We're going to go double Hold the Lines here just to have a lot of added pressure if they happen to leave these 2 survivors alone. Considering you would have a yellow and red Hold the Line, so if the enemy did bring green and blues, then these 2 Hold the Lines would just eliminate that team at the very end if they were left alone. Once again, we're going to bring in Rosita for the previous reasons of cleansing, stuns, and impairs, and to make sure confuses and taunts are not affecting us, we're going to bring in Yvette to make sure we can apply focus to the team. Mix in a little bit of damage from Donnie, stuns, HP, and AP gains will make this team very well rounded and a pain in the ass. And that's going to wrap up the video of our glorious yellow and red defense leader, Donnie. Let me know some other team comps that you would actually use with Donnie, as he is now going to be a hot commodity, as this is a completely new dynamic to the game, as now we have yellow and red's defense teams that can synergize together. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to for anything positive, please get a nice karate chop, like, subscribe button, make sure to leave a comment down below. It's important, greatly appreciated, and on that, I'll catch you on the next video. Bye bye!